The text message from my mother stated, "Darling, please come over at 7." I fixated on those words, my gut tightening with a familiar sense of dread. In my 29 years of life, I have typically learned something remarkable from Nina. Signified difficulties concealed in an attractive facade. I am Valerie, the family's problem solver. The individual who rescued my brother's unsuccessful business endeavors, settled my father's gambling debts, and refinanced them. My mother's credit cards are maxed out, despite her great work, and I arrived at their suburban residence at 7:05 p.m., where they boast about their finances, yet harbor underlying resentment. Stylishly, it was late enough to annoy my mother, but not so late as to provoke one of her outbursts through the living room window. I observed fleeting movements and muted conversations indicative of a surprise celebration. Anticipating the moment, I inhaled deeply and pressed the doorbell. The door swung open. Nina stood impeccably groomed as usual, adorned in her preferred attire. A smile of surprise greeted me as I entered, with family members emerging around me. From diverse concealments, all exhibiting visages reminiscent of sharks encircling their prey. "Oh my goodness," I gasped, practicing the astonished expression I had perfected. Years of their scheming. Nothing is too good for my baby. Nina CED enveloped me in a lavender-scented embrace that lingered somewhat too long. Turning 30 is a significant milestone. I am currently 29. Edmund dismissively offered Valerie a glass as my father arrived with alarming swiftness, presenting a glass of what appeared to be exceptionally costly scorch. "Here you are, princess." My brother Jasper stood uncomfortably, aware that I had never favored scotch. By the fireplace, evading eye contact, I observed a document like legal paperwork. A document was prominently positioned on the coffee table, its corner protruding from beneath a magazine. "Come sit," Nina urged. I approached the couch. "Everyone is present to honor you." I surveyed the room. Aunt Margaret, Uncle Pete, and cousins I had not seen in years all donned identical attire. Artificial smiles. The sole authentic visage belonged to my dearest pal, Reagan, who she seemingly became involved in this situation. She attracted my attention and raised an eyebrow slightly before we proceeded to cut the cake. It was declared that we would commence with the gifts, beginning with the largest. Edmund intervened, shifting the magazine to reveal the gift. The document elicited a quickening of my heart rate, however, I preserved my smile. "What is this?" "Oh, nothing." Some tedious documentation regarding Grandma Sophia's inheritance. It was dismissed too nonchalantly, indicating little cause for concern. "This evening, we will address it later, but I have already obtained the title of inheritance." I suggested that we consider reviewing the document. Now that everyone is present, Knock's smile briefly wavered. "No, no, dear, let us. Enjoy yourself first, Edmund. It is unfortunate for everyone." "Champagne, mother, you are aware of my preference. Prioritize business over pleasure." I began to open the folder, observing her expression intently. Val reacted sharply, suddenly. She swiftly moderated her tone, stating, "It is your party. Do you not wish to enjoy it, Jasper?" Suddenly, he suggested that perhaps we should refrain from proceeding. Nina interrupted him abruptly, and I remained silent. With the document in hand, what precisely am I observing here? The room also fell silent. Nina and Edmund exchanged post-maritim glances, and I could almost feel the gears turning in their minds. Reassessing their strategy, "It is really a formality," Edmund remarked. "The lawyers require anything for Grandma's estate, which is not urgent. Thus, why is it present here with me?" Nina emitted a high-pitched, anxious chuckle, questioning, "Why are you behaving this way?" "My dubious dear, can we not simply celebrate?" I surveyed the room, observing the expressions of others witnessing this interaction. Like a tennis match, my family, who ought to have been my staunchest supporters, instead perceived me as their adversary. Personal ATM, and in the corner, Reagan was discreetly trembling her indeed. "We can celebrate," I stated, finally placing the document down. "I will maintain my position, but first, I believe we should address the true purpose of your gathering everyone here this evening." The ensuing silence was overwhelming. Nina's perfect smile faltered slightly, revealing the despair beneath. At that moment, she realized that the contents of the folder would alter everything. "Valerie, dear," she commenced. As I reached for the document, I discreetly drew it closer to my heart to avoid causing a commotion. Thumping yet voice unwavering, "My mother, I believe it is quite tardy for that toast." Edmund's words resonated throughout the room. urgently attempting to alleviate the tension directed towards my beautiful daughter. Who is he has consistently demonstrated practicality regarding these matters, as I observed him lift his glass. Observing the tiny tremor in his fingers, the document weighed heavily in my lap as everyone uniformly raised their Nina intervened, while the others offered Valerie drinks, their words resonating as a hollow chorus. With practiced grace, she placed a dish of my purported favorite cake, chocolate with buttercream frosting, in front of me. Allergic to dairy, love, she purred. Why don't we indulge ourselves first? You can delay the paperwork. I indicated my interest when I opened the folder. At this moment, Jasper unexpectedly materialized beside me, maybe indicating Mom's presence. Reagan interjected from across the room, suggesting that we read it aloud. It's all a formality. I gave her a piercing glance and proceeded to clear the air. I, Valerie, hereby freely relinquish all rights. Regarding the inheritance bequeathed by Sophia Olin, my voice faltered as I perused the remainder of the document you wish for me to endorse. My entire inheritance was not simply redistributed by Edmund. For tax purposes, I laughed. However, there was no humor in it. Both you and Mother observed Aunt Margaret's unusual fascination in her wine glass, while Uncle Pete glanced at his phone. The cousin moved uneasily, asserting, "We are family," her voice imbued with shame and emotion. The tone she had refined over the years. All we possess is communal, you understand. Such as when you disclosed the funds I provided for Jasper's startup, or when you revealed the truth regarding Dad's situation. The atmosphere became excruciatingly silent due to gaming debts, she said. That's dissimilar. The facade is faltering. We are your parents and have provided you with everything. No, I corrected her. You have appropriated everything and now you seek Grandma's fortune as well. Jasper stepped. Val, please sign it. They will not cease unless you do. Is that the reason for your presence here, Jasper, to persuade me that he was unable to meet my gaze? They suggested it would be more effective if I delivered the message myself. Naturally, I complied. I remained standing, firmly grasping the document. How long have you? Everyone has been strategizing, anticipating the ideal moment to ambush me. No one is unaware. Edmund weakly argued against ambushing anyone, stating, "We're celebrating you." My birthday is next month. Nonetheless, my composure has deteriorated further. Please sign the document. Valerie, cease being so obstinate. I found amusement once more. This instance manifested as rather hysterical. Is it what you term as resisting manipulation? Ungrateful little Nina found herself affixing yet another grin. Dear, you are causing discomfort among everyone. Excellent. I turned to face the room. Were you all aware of this? Were you all complicit? The quiet sufficed as a response. Reagan rose to his feet. I was unaware, and this is repugnant. Refrain from involvement, as this pertains to family matters. I derided the notion of this group being a business family, referring to them instead as enablers and conspirators, as Edmund advanced. Exercising his paternal authority, he stated, "Princess, your mother and I have deliberated extensively on this matter. It is for your benefit." The best for whom? Dad, you are a bookie, his face is refined. That's sufficient. No, it is not. I approached the hearth while holding the document, eager to express my thoughts. Regarding this arrangement, Knock's eyes widened. Don't you dare, I asserted, gripping the corner of the. Observing the flames as they ignited, I believe it deserves to burn in hell, you foolish girl. No, yelled while lunging forward, do you comprehend the consequences of your actions? I allowed the conflagration. The paper has fallen into the fireplace. I am fully aware of my actions. I am finished with this. Edmund weakly threatened your personal bank account copies. I responded, collecting my handbag to retain them as mementos of the day your scheme faltered. Reagan was already beside me. With keys in hand, Letton released them as we approached the door. Jasper yelled out, Val, wait, save. If I severed communication with him, you may inform them about Grandma's video message, the one they are unaware of, and the expression of astonishment it elicited. Nina's expression nearly justified the entire evening, almost as if she were demanding a movie of herself. I stood at the entrance, relishing the moment. I suppose you will discover. My birthday is approaching. Happy early birthday to me. You should have observed Nina's expression when you referenced the video. Reagan found it amusing. As she pushed a mug of coffee across the kitchen counter, I anticipated an explosion. It was nearly midnight. The excitement from earlier was slowly dissipating, and I clasped my hands over the warm cup in an attempt to steady them. In disbelief, I remarked that I cannot believe they attempted to do this, but I conceded that I can indeed believe it. What is in this video that caused your mother to appear as though she had encountered a specter? I retrieved my phone and accessed a file labeled Grandma. Sophia transmitted this to me via her attorney 2 days prior to her demise, as Reagan pushed in closer and I pressed. The television displayed my grandmother's face, her silver hair impeccably combed. Even from her hospital bed, my beloved Valerie's familiar voice crackled across the speaker. If you're watching, I have already departed, and if I am familiar with your mother, which I regrettably am, she is. She is already attempting to acquire what I have bequeathed to you, murmured Holy Reagan. I remarked, increasing the volume, observing how they have exploited you throughout the years. Grandma Sophia persisted. Way they have depleted you both financially and emotionally. Nina exhibited similar behavior towards me. Consistently receiving without reciprocating, so I have established specific boundaries. The movie progressed as my grandmother spoke on her plans for Reagan. Her eyes widened with each revelation. Your grandmother was a genius, she remarked when the film concluded. A genuine genius, she understood them more profoundly than they comprehended themselves. I took a drink of coffee, but I must now determine my further action. My phone vibrated with another text from Nina. We must discuss your previous statement. Please contact me quickly. Do not involve Reagan. I received a warning not to observe my fixation on the message, as it is essentially another trap. I refrained from calling her and began composing a response. All communication is conducted through this medium. Linda, henceforth referred to as the family lawyer and grandma's attorney, has been amended. My new best ally and I are meeting tomorrow morning. Reagan reclined. I am studying differently tonight. I feel stronger, although I am fatigued. I expressed my weariness of being in that situation. Exasperated by the deception, I was approached by my father last month to co-sign a loan for him. Please inform me that you did not pursue the business endeavor. I nearly did, but then I discovered something. It was for a poker tournament in Las Vegas. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Jasper. They are losing it here, Mom. Regarding the contestation of the will, which video were you referencing in relation to your brother's outreach that Reagan observed? They are likely using my new phone for their nefarious purposes once more. Inform Mother to conserve her energy, since it may be required. Cryptic Reagan authorized. Another message appeared, this time from an unidentified number. Linda, may we reschedule our meeting to 8:00 a.m. Matters are intensifying more rapidly than I anticipated that Reagan would observe the message. Even Linda is aware that they intend to do it. What do you believe they will do, considering Nina's knowledge of everything? I responded to Linda, affirming the previously fabricated meeting time. She attempted to manipulate me into financing her spa trip by feigning a heart attack. I refused to comply. The emergency room revealed that she was at the Beverly Hills Hotel. Reagan expressed her disbelief, questioning the certainty of the plan, emphasizing that once initiated, there would be no turning back. Video once again, listening to my grandmother's last words. Remember, darling, sometimes the most compassionate action the most beneficial action for someone is to cease enabling them. You possess greater strength than you realize. Compel them to recognize this. I believe I mentioned closure. The video, for once in my life, confirms that my phone illuminated with another notification. A deluge of texts from Nina, Edmund, and even Aunt Margaret attempting to engage the mediator silenced everyone. Reagan has provided you a place to stay tonight. I must be alone. Thank you, but I need to return home and prepare for tomorrow. I have stood up. I must organize years of financial documents before my meeting. Linda requested my presence at the meeting. I embraced her tightly, expressing my refusal. I must undertake this task alone, but please keep your phone on. I have a sense that tomorrow will be significant. As I drove home, my grandmother's words resonated in my mind. For years, I had been their safeguard. Their bank serves as their emotional outlet. Yet, due to Sophia's thoughtfulness, I possess the capacity to alter everything. My phone vibrated one last time with another message. Exercise caution with your plans, Jasper, as you are aware of the potential consequences. I did have information, and for the first time, it did not evoke dread within me. Conversely, I experienced a novel sense of anticipation. Linda's workplace exuded a fortress of mahogany and legend degrees at precisely 8:00 a.m. She shut. I checked the door behind me twice to confirm it was locked when your mother called. She stated, seated behind her desk, that your father attempted to visit my residence 17 times yesterday night, which seems accurate. I placed my folder of financial data on her desk. Did they threaten you? No. Linda's lips curved into a slight smile as she appeared to attempt to terminate my employment. I had forgotten that I was your grandmother's attorney, not hers. Classic Nina. I leaned closer and inquired about our next steps. Linda extracted a substantial file. Your grandmother was scrupulous in her, she was aware of her parents' intentions. The video message was merely the initial step, was it not? Sophia documented the film as a safeguard, but the true security lies within the stipulations of the inheritance, which Linda accessed. I have not yet watched the complete film, I simply viewed the initial few minutes. I immediately retrieved my phone and resumed playing the video from the point where I had paused it, revealing Grandma Sophia's face. Valor, my love, I have structured the legacy in a more serious manner than before. In a manner that renders it inaccessible to Nina or Edmund, even via your intervention. Every cent is secured within a trust. Under appropriate conditions, Linda paused the film. This is where it becomes intriguing. Your grandmother established the conditions I mentioned, which state that you may only use the funds for 3 purposes: individual living expenditures and philanthropic contributions to accredited organizations' investment in enterprises unrelated to one's family members left me astonished by her perception. Linda hit play again, indicating that there is more to everything, particularly concerning the family. Attempts to challenge these conditions persisted with Grandma Sophia, or if they endeavored. We trigger a clause that automatically allocates 50% of the total inheritance to coerce you into sharing it. The sum donated to charity. Oh my God, I murmured. Your grandmother was rather Linda provided comprehensive instructions for the management of your family's unavoidable circumstances while pausing the video. The reaction will be nuclear when they discover the exact reason, which is why we must. Linda retrieved another document I had created, a formal letter defining the terms we will dispatch it to them today. They will attempt to contest it, as shown by Linda's face. Despite their toughened stance, their continued resistance results in more financial contributions to charity, as mandated by law. My phone buzzed with an ironclad notification from Nina, which I displayed to Linda at the opportune moment. Informed Letton to provide them with a preview, I responded on speakerphone, "Hello, Em." "Hello, Mother." Your voice resonated throughout the room. "Where are you? We must discuss your conduct from last night." Linda has put herself on speakerphone and is currently on hold. "Linda, I demand to know what absurdities you have been communicating to my daughter." Linda replied, "I will send you Sophia's complete will today. A comprehensive elucidation of the trust conditions pertaining to the knock voice, specifically regarding the octave of Rose and the associated trust criteria. Grandma Sophia has established arrangements that make it difficult for either you or Dad to access this money. Absurd. I am her mother. I possess rights." However, Linda interjected, stating that you do not. Any effort to dispute these conditions will lead to an automatic charity contribution of 50% of the inheritance. The stillness on the other end was overwhelming. "Mom," I urged, "your grandmother's vengeance, is it?" Knock's voice became frigid. "She always was a malicious elderly woman. No, Mother, this is her safeguard for me." She chuckled. "Resentfully over the reaction of your own family, I advised you to verify your assertions. In 1 hour, I will send you an email with a detailed explanation. Valerie, do not proceed." I concluded the call as stated. Proceeded as anticipated. What occurs next is a waiting period for them to get the letter, after which she presented me with a USB disk that has all the items your grandma wished for you to possess, including financial information and personal documents. Messages indicating prior loans and manipulations evidence indicates that Sophia meticulously documented each instance in which they used you. Each loan, every guilt trip, every plot. Linda's gaze met mine, conveying her desire for you. "I own evidence should you ever question your abilities." I grasped the USB drive, sensing its heft in my hand. Linda stood up, demonstrating that she had indeed considered every aspect. "Are you prepared for what follows?" Once they receive that letter, I will be prepared, as I stated while standing. For the first time in my life, 3 days after Linda dispatched the letter, I am ready. Nina arrived at my workplace, and I observed through the glass walls as she captivated her way past reception, adorned in her finest attire. In a fine outfit and carrying what appeared to be lunch from my preferred restaurant, she inhaled deeply. Before I could intervene, I procured your preferred mushroom risotto. I have always been allergic to mushrooms, Mom. She waved dismissively while placing the package down. Yo, is that so? Well, no. We must discuss all that was articulated in Linda's letter. Regarding that, she positioned herself on the edge of my desk. Your father and I have. I have been contemplating if we may have all overreacted while I continued typing on my keyboard. We acknowledge your distress and recognize that we could have managed the situation more effectively. At the gathering, she attempted to hold my hand, but I withdrew. However, we can undoubtedly seek a compromise. There is no compromise as the terms are explicit. Terms can be modified, laws can be amended. Ultimately, I gazed at her. Challenging the terms leads to half of the inheritance being allocated to charity. Is that sufficiently clear for you? Valerie's voice adopted that familiar edge, reminiscent of your parents' tone, making the situation unpleasant. All we've done for you. Jasper's phone vibrated to say his mother is here. Isn't she? Dad sent her. I pulled out my phone, displaying years of banking information. Was it the unauthorized credit card applications made in my name or the coercion to cover Jasper's expenses that constituted the transfers for me? She stated rigidly, "Is that what you refer to as failed restaurants helping family?" I retrieved further documents indicating that when you informed me that Dad required funds for surgery, the money was, in fact, allocated to his bookmaker, as evidenced by her expression. Hardened, you have been monitoring us. No, Grandma Sophia did, since she meticulously documented everything. Receipt, every bank statement, every death, and the desperate voicemail you left me requesting your grandmother did not catch herself messing with money. Comprehend our familial dynamics. I found it amusing that I occupy the role of. Nina stood up, adjusting her skirt as the perpetual withdrawer at the ATM. I observe that you are not in a rational mood today, yet consider this thoughtfully, dear. Do you genuinely wish to obliterate our family over financial matters? You previously did that, Mom, years ago. Do not be theatrical, she withdrew. Your father had our lawyer draft a new agreement, which was in an envelope from her purse, something that is advantageous for all. I did not handle the mail. Did you fail to comprehend the letter? Any effort to? Bypassing Grandma's wishes activates the charity clause unless you consent voluntarily. She beamed triumphantly, stating that we had discovered a loophole. However, I contended that there are no loopholes. Activated the intercom. Security, please escort an individual out. You are ungrateful. She momentarily regained her composure as 2 security guards emerged, leaving Valerie to reflect. I have been engaged in this activity for years. I am returning to my computer now. Farewell, Mom. This is not concluded, she declared as the guards escorted her away. Your father will contact you. My phone vibrated once more. I inquired, Jasper, how severe was it? I said, she brought mushrooms. Roto, we've received another message about your allergy to mushrooms. Let us debate this matter over dinner tonight at your discretion. I showed Reagan, who had been quietly watching from my office corner, the text they are not providing. She inquired if they were present. The response was no. However, their desperation is increasing. I have forwarded Edmund's message. Message to Linda indicating that they will air. What is your subsequent action? I have intervened. I will schedule supper with my father, but it will be on my terms. I am indeed composing a response to Edmund, as it is essential for him to recognize my position. The frightened little girl is no longer there, as Linda and I have devised a strategy. I grinned, contemplating the nature of that plan. Recalling the USP's contents, it is evident that Grandma Sophia bequeathed me more than mere financial assets. She imparted invaluable memories. The reality of their actions will be revealed, and tomorrow evening, Father will receive a preview. Exercise caution, Reagan cautioned. Cornered creatures are the most perilous. I am aware. I stared at the family photo on my desk, taken years ago before I understood their significance, but I've had enough of being cautious. It is time to exhibit courage. My phone illuminated with Edmund's response. Wonderful, Princess. Specify the location. I responded with the Capitol Grill at 7 p.m. Attend alone. I also included father, so do not. There is no need to bring any documents this time, as I own an ample supply to distribute. The Capitol Grill aligns with Edmund's preferences. The venue is costly enough to confer a sense of importance, yet features private booths ideal for business transactions. I came 15 minutes early to put up my laptop and organize the